Hi everyone, welcome back to the Candid Book Club YouTube channel. I'm Jess, this is Oma, Mimi, Linda and Tanya. And welcome to Now and Next, which is our new book series about us talking about the books that we've just read or are reading right now and what we're about to read next. So we're halfway through the year, guys, it's June. Let's see what we've all got coming up on our TBR piles, which I know are super long. So let's try and keep it short and sweet. And I'll start all the way on my right with Oma.
Right, so these are my two Now and Next. No, my...
What have you read recently?
Yeah, so this is what I read, and this is what I'm reading at the moment. Yeah. So my next. So I'll start with what I read. So I just picked this up. I went to Foyles, and it was buy one get one half price, and I'm always a sucker for that deal.
The best deal.
So I picked up two of Lynn Painter's books because I think they had like decent reviews on like Goodreads and whatever, and I just wanted something cute and fluffy. And it actually delivered. It started off a bit like, okay, here we go. Because when it comes to like romance books, you have a handful of tropes, and that's just the way it goes, which is fine. You know, you can't really reinvent the wheel when it comes to like romance. So in this case, it's like almost like a grumpy sunshine type of relationship. He's sort of popular, she's not, but they're next door neighbours. Now they kind of have this ongoing feud about this parking spot in front of their house. So they're always kind of like pranking each other and stuff like that. Now, a guy that they all grew up with in the neighbourhood, he like moved out years ago. When they were in like middle school, and then he comes back in high school, and she's like, oh my god, I fancy the pants off him as a kid. He's back, it's meant to be. So she's really like into love. She loves love. She wants to, you know, have that perfect type of relationship. So when this guy comes back into her life, she's like, this is it. This is meant to be. So she asks her neighbor, Wes, I think his name is, to like help her, to like just, you know, kind of be her wingman.
What would you rate this book?
For a romance book, I rate it a 4.
Really?
I think it was actually really, it was really good. I did enjoy it. I think the only thing was like a fall in love or catch feelings within a space of like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So for me, that's a bit of like, I prefer a slow burn. So I think sometimes that kind of thing rushes for me. But then I also think, well, there's people on Love Island who fall in love in 2 days and catch feelings. So maybe it's not as unrealistic as I think it is.
They're spending so much time with each other.
And they're next door neighbours, and they've grown up together, and, you know, he knows about her mum and that type of stuff. So it was actually really cute. I recommended this to Tanya. So Tanya, let me just pass it over. It's definitely one that she'll enjoy. And what I'm reading right now is This Is Fine by Poorna. It's not out, or it's coming out this month. So it's coming out in June. And yeah, high praise from all of the girls who've already read it, and I'm enjoying it so far. So yeah, I'll hopefully have a review on the grid soon. That's me.
Thanks.
Mimi. Right, so I have just finished reading Broken Threads by Mishal Husain, famous broadcaster, seen on news, hosting election debates, etc. And this is also out in June. It's brilliant. So it's a memoir, it's non-fiction. It's basically the story of Partition told through her family's eyes. So she's traced back her family tree all the way to her great-grandparents and looked at kind of heritage, roots, where her family have come from, and used those characters to kind of tell the story of the partition of India and Pakistan into those two countries. It's brilliant. It's so good. I loved all of her family members, and I learnt so much. And, you know, it's not intended to be preachy. I think it's genuinely meant to be a tribute to her family and to what they went through. It's not meant to be a textbook. It's not meant for educating people, but I did learn a lot. Like, her great-grandfather was an Irish Catholic, because during the famine in Ireland, you know, there were Irish immigrants all over the world, and there was a huge settlement in India that I had no idea about. A huge community of Irish Catholics. So she's got kind of Irish heritage and all sorts of heritage, and you know, her family was tumultuous. It wasn't easy. There was affairs and unapproving parents and marriages that weren't sanctioned and all sorts that was going on with the backdrop of partition. So really recommend this. I think it's brilliant.
I'm currently reading it. I'm halfway through.
Yeah.
I've learned so much already.
Yeah.
Did you know that, so her grandfather was like best friends with like these 3 Sikh guys, and one of them went to Russia to like learn more about communism at the time, and ended up marrying Stalin's daughter.
Whoa.
So
Wild.
Stalin's daughter married a Sikh guy, but obviously their marriage was like not a thing,
Not recognised.
Yeah. So in the 60s, she defected to become a American citizen.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have so much of a deep respect for books like this because I can just only imagine like how much
Research.
effort has
Yeah.
gone into doing the
So
research.
much effort. But also
Particularly
like
Indian family members
Yeah.
that don't often have
and I think
records.
And
Yeah.
so she was saying that
Yeah,
actually
exactly.
there were a lot of letters in between bits and she was piecing things together.
Yeah.
But actually her grandparents would leave recordings.
Yeah.
Or they like recorded.
They have memoirs.
They have memoirs.
They have memoirs that she was able to
And so
rely
she
on.
was like,
yeah.
Then she put things together, then she found some other relatives who sort of like knew the context,
Yeah.
and then she heard things and she was like, let me just fact check that, and she would
Yeah.
actually find that yes,
It was
like
true.
it was true.
Yeah,
that's
so
amazing.
So much stuff.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It just paints a really interesting picture of what the world looked like at that point that is
Yeah.
so unfamiliar to me
Mm.
and to a lot of us, I think, who
Yeah.
just expect it to be very linear and very like clear cut. Oh, there was a line drawn here and that was that. And actually one of the hardest bits was at the point of partition where neighbours, family members suddenly were not able to communicate with each other easily. It was
like
awful.
her grandfather
Yeah.
couldn't visit his dad's grave.
Yeah.
Because it was
the other side of the
it was
border.
the other side of the border.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And it's just like that's probably very normal history for many families
Yeah.
that were affected by this.
Yeah.
Obviously South
It
Asia.
reminds me of like, so we're from Kashmir, and we have relatives on the Indian side of Kashmir that we will never be able to visit because we can't cross the border,
Yeah.
even though it's literally like
Two steps
yeah,
away.
but we can't go to
Yeah.
that side. And
Yeah, it's honestly, it's so well done, this book. I can't recommend it enough.
And
It's
also-
not hench either. It's
Yeah.
not a textbook, like I say.
And I think for me, like when you hear about like the sort of South Asian, like that area, like just India, Pakistan, there's so much history that
Yeah.
obviously we know spans like millennia, but you know the change in landscape is so vast
Yeah.
in a short space of time because of empire and
Yeah.
redrawing borders, that she's referring to names of towns that like literally no longer exist. They're erased.
Yeah.
And obviously finding that and piecing that through her grandparents or great grandparents' eyes, and then in modern day, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I need to. Do you know what? I need to highlight some of the bits that I can't really like.
Yeah.
Enjoyed.
I really recommend this. We're going to go see Mishal at an event for her launch at some point in June. So we're very excited to go and hopefully meet her and say how much we loved it in person. But Mishal, if you watch this, we loved it. And next on my list is one that Linda, you've already read, haven't you? So
Really
this is
enjoyed
For Such a Time as This by Shani, Akilah. And am I right in thinking it's a collection of short stories?
It is a collection of short stories.
And I've seen it all over my TikTok. I've seen it all over Linda's WhatsApps. And it's in my hands now. And it's got this is my copy. I've got my name in it. So this is next on my pile. Because I've heard a lot of good things. And there's really like quite smart people quoted on the back. She's got Bernardine Evaristo, Jyoti Patel, who we love, and Jed Della Benson as well.
Okay,
So she's got some good endorsements on there.
I think Shani is a bookstagrammer.
Oh, go Shani, doing it for the bookstagram community.
But what I loved about this short story collection is that, and I think I like this just overall, you know, when it's like they're loosely connected.
I love it.
And they kind of overlap, or they're in parallel.
They're in the same world.
In the same world. So
Love that.
you're like, oh yeah, I read about Jonathan in this one, but he was like a side character. Now he's like the main character here.
I love that.
And then in the end, there's a party where they're all at. I'm not giving anything away. There's a party where they're all at, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. This
They
is
all come
really
together.
smart.
Cute.
And I think
Amazing.
also this is my first book that I've read that's set in and around lockdown.
Oh, interesting.
It hasn't minded.
It hasn't given you PTSD.
But it does. She did capture like the essence of lockdown, and so like they were like a group of friends that like were working at a place pre-lockdown, and what the workplace was like after.
I like
the same
that.
place.
Okay.
And like, you know, just there were like small inferences and references rather than, oh my god, we're in a lockdown.
Right, okay, I was
you know what I
gonna
mean?
say,
So like no one wants to.
The
no one
last
wants
book
to have
I read
that.
about that
Which
was
was
very,
what?
where it was romantic comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld.
Oh, yeah.
The whole middle of the book was about COVID, and I
Oh.
immediately did not want to read it.
Side
Just didn't
note,
want to.
I don't think we will be able to process lockdown for many years.
No, I
to
think
come.
it's going to take a
It'll
long time.
be literature in like maybe 10, 15 years.
I think when we, you know, the next generation, when we
Yeah.
speak to the kids, our kids or whatever, future kids, we'll be like, you know, they locked us down.
We had to queue at the supermarket one by one.
We had to wear the masks.
And there was no new.
There was no
Granny's lost it
We're all
again.
also going to change voices magically in the next 20 years.
Honestly.
There was no new role because everyone.
Here's a walking stick, guys.
You need to stop.
How old do you think you're going to be when you have kids? You're going to be little mum
We're
with
going to be
I
like,
don't know
going
what's
into 20
happening.
years.
not even
Anyway.
grandkids, Linda. These
Right,
are
I'm going to rein my one back
My
in.
great grandchildren. Okay, sorry. So
So yeah. Nice one, Shani. Can't wait to read it.
Thank you, Mimi. At this juncture in the video, I'm going to take the opportunity to ask you guys, what's your now and next? Tell us what you're reading right now. Tell us what you're going to read straight after that one. Pop it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you guys. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more fun antics from your fave girls. We've reached the middle, so I guess it's my turn. So I have just finished Poorna Girls, This Is Fine, which Oma has perfectly described. And I'm currently in the middle of reading a book that Linda recommended to me. You can see who the central glue is in that room. This is called The Chain by
Oh my god. She's going to do that when she's a granny as well.
with a little walking stick.
Guys, this is serious.
This is actually quite serious.
This I can't wait to read.
So yeah, it's called The Chain by Chimene and Suleyman, and it is about a real life story that happened to her, of being involved with I'm going to call him psychologically abusive, manipulative,
Swindler.
and narcissistic partner.
Swindler is
Swindler
a
is
compliment.
Swindler is not enough to describe. I'm halfway through. I'm so hooked. I'm literally thinking about how I'm going to finish this in the 2-hour journey home.
You will.
It's incredible that this happened, but also it's so far from what I'm reading from it. It is a testament to the power of women coming together and sort of
Taking
sharing.
them down.
They don't really take him down as such, but it's more about sharing and understanding
empowering
between
each other.
women and empowering each other. It's fascinating. It's scary, but I think it's really urgent because it talks a lot about consent, about power dynamics, about how women can be made to feel inferior just purely by a man being so psychologically deviant. It's really important, and I'm only halfway through, but I'm going to recommend it to everyone I know. And in terms of my next, I'm being really ambitious, and I'm going to have two. The first is one that we just received. It's called I'm New Here by Ian Russell-Hsieh. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it is about a guy who kind of goes to Taiwan to try and find himself. I think he's half British, half Taiwanese. He goes to Taiwan to try and find himself and kind of ends up deeper in a bit of a hole and sort of trying to find out
If there was ever a
self-identity. Yeah, it just sounds so
Up your street.
fascinating. I'm so excited. As soon as we got this and I read the blurb, I was like to my husband, this is the one. I can't wait to read this. So there's this, and also I wanted to point out, nice and short and sweet, The Horse by Willy Vlautin, which has had rave reviews so far, I would say. So I'm very, very excited to get through this one too. And that's my now and next for June. Linda.
I am halfway through Mishal Husain's what's it called?
Broken Threads.
Broken Threads, and yeah, really enjoying it. I will put a review up soon. I've learned a lot though. It's one of those ones, as I said before, need to go through it with a highlighter. I can't remember what I read before that. Sorry.
It wasn't very good.
No, I just can't. I've read a lot recently,
Yeah.
and I've struggled to put down my reviews. So I apologise, but you're going to get 35 reviews that are in succession at some point. But I also
Lucky for you, our followers.
yes,
on
lucky
Instagram.
for you. So yeah, but I think the one I read before that was probably For Such a Time as This, and I really enjoyed that. So yeah. Now next, after that, I think I'm going to read Cobalt Red, which is a non-fiction book. I don't want to move this pile. A non-fiction book about what is going on in Congo and how the blood of the Congo Powers our lives by Siddarth Kara. And yeah, I've seen this in a lot of places. It seems like it's only 200 and something pages, which is quite short for a non-fiction. And I just feel like with everything going on in the world right now, especially in Congo, it's very little talked about. Like
Yeah.
people don't really know what it's about.
Yeah.
And so hopefully this is an attempt for me to educate myself.
Is this about the cobalt industry?
Yeah,
And
mining.
kind of the fact
Yeah.
that mining in the Congo is
Yeah.
exploitative of the people?
So it's the first ever expose of the immense toll taken on the people and environment of the DRC by cobalt mining, the crucial mineral that powers our lives. And we were saying earlier, like, I don't think people appreciate how many minerals and things like cobalt and other stuff that's also in Congo powers our lives, like phones, tech,
Chargers,
lithium-ion
vapes,
rechargeable battery.
That's
yeah.
cars, that's
Yeah, the
everything.
batteries that power smartphones, tablets, laptops, and electric vehicles. 75% of the world's supply of cobalt is mined in the Congo, often dug by hand for pennies a day by desperate men, women, and children who are called artisanal miners in subhuman, dangerous, and toxic conditions.
Wow.
And so this guy, I think, went undercover
Oh,
to
wow.
get that info and put it together. And obviously, people don't know that it's run by the military, and it's so brutal. So I want to read this.
Yeah.
I also want to read a book called Daughters of the Nile, which I just learned about the other day. But I have ordered the book and it is here, and I can't wait to read it. It's by a British Egyptian voice. I think the book is divided in 3 parts, like one bit set in Egypt, one bit set here, one bit set somewhere else, maybe in the Emirates somewhere, I'm not sure.
Okay. Interesting.
So you know me, I like a book that's kind of like that, and I will let you know what I think.
Nice.
So that's me.
Tanya, last but not least.
I just finished reading The Fiance Dilemma by Elena Armas, is that it?
Is she the one that wrote Spanish Love
The
Deception?
Spanish Love
Elena
Deception,
Armas, yes,
Roommate
yeah.
Experiment.
Mhm.
I got sent the other day, and I finished it within a day and a half. It was alright. It wasn't too bad. Like I
Was
said,
it better than the others?
it was better than the Roommate Experiment. You know how much I hated that. I wanted to dash it out of the...
We were on a cruise,
I was ready
and
to dash
every
it.
2 minutes she's like, oh. Sort of throw it off the side.
You want it done.
I wanted
Yeah.
to be done with it. But this one, it was like, you know, the fake dating trope and blah, blah, blah. Again, I just find like the sex scenes really cringy. Like it's a lot of like, you know, like pet names are really weird. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what's just wrong with calling your man babes or whatever? Like, it's really like baby blue or sweetheart. It's just, it's like, and then like, and also like, when they're having their moments together, it's always like the fuck yes. For me, it's
I think
cringe.
it's cringe for all 5 of us.
Yeah, it's
What the
funny
hell?
though, but it's cringe. But
Ew.
taking that away, it wasn't a bad book, and I feel like because I've been in a reading slump, it's been
A welcome change, yeah.
yeah, it's been nice to just read something and actually get through it. So yeah, I finished reading that, and I'm now gonna read. I think it's called The Summer Swap by Sarah Morgan.
Oh,
I don't actually know what it's about, but I love Sarah Morgan, and I don't think there's one book of hers that I've not enjoyed. So I'm looking forward to reading that, and then the one that you mentioned as well, the Better Than the Movies. Just
Yeah,
because...
I just want to say as well, Better Than the Movies had 0 spice. So that was quite nice to not have to...
Okay, like go through.
The thing is, I don't mind spice as long as it's authentic. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like
natural,
keep natural, like not just
For the
sake of it. Yeah. So anyways,
Can
that's...
you send us some pictures of these weird passages?
Yeah,
I want
please. I want to laugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I just
alright.
need to understand, like,
Yeah.
how do these authors write cringeness like that?
I think
Like,
this is
why?
part of the formula though, what
Yeah.
makes it go viral on
Do
TikTok
you
and
remember
stuff.
when
But
we
can I
spoke
just say-
when we spoke to Taylor Dior about situationship, her book didn't have any spice in it, and then the author was like, you have to put it in.
The editor.
She was, the editor, sorry, was like, you have to put it in, and she was like, oh, I don't want to, like, you know, and then they're like, no, you have to. So I think it's like when it's a certain type of book,
Yeah.
when it's at a certain
expected
market,
now?
yeah, it's kind of...
That's
I
sad.
feel
That's
like it
fine.
is
Yeah,
sad.
the way
It's
that
just
what
like-
Tanya's describing, it sounds weird.
It sounds
Yeah.
bad.
The
It's
thing
not
is,
that-
I
it
feel
feels
like
forced.
every romance novel now has that, unless you're like an old school person. Like I feel like Sarah Morgan, I don't feel like, even with her sex scenes or whatever, like they're cute, they're not like
Yeah.
gross or like weird.
Yeah.
But with these, I feel like
Not
because this is
Baby
what
blue.
people want. Like if people love like this mafia trope and all of that blunt, like they love these types of scenes. I just skip through them
Right.
because I just think
too grown for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, there we are.
There you
you
go.
go.
And there we are indeed. Guys, we've given you every genre under the sun, I think, right now. We've got non-fiction, fiction, short stories, romance, like serious stuff. I personally think that we are the queens of diversity when it comes to reading.
And Candor,
And we hope you guys agree. Add all of these to your TBRs and let us know if you've enjoyed any one of them.
Oh my god.
Yeah, if you've enjoyed any of them, please let us know in the comments down below. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
That's all you got to end all your videos.